welcome to this week's Productivity Enhancer. Today we've got a relatively short productivity enhancer for you, but one that I think is relatively unused and actually can help you save a lot of time. So this week we've got a sketch right here, and this sketch we want to place on a different plane, but we want its location to be offset from this direct location right here. But we want to place this sketch in a very specific location on that new plane. So I'm going to exit the sketch. It is underdefined, but that's okay for this purpose. And then I'm going to create a new plane, and I'm going to use the front plane as our reference because that's where the sketch was created. And then I'm just going to offset it maybe 100 millimeters. So we have that new plane. Now what we want to do is copy this sketch, so we'll just highlight it, go up to Edit, Copy, or you can Control C. Then we go and highlight plane 1 and Control V, or we can also go up and edit Paste. And when we do that, you can see that that sketch shows up directly across from the original sketch using the identical XY axis. So that's all well and good, but what if we need this duplicated sketch either flipped around or translated on one of those axes? So let's go ahead and select that sketch. And now the easiest way to accomplish this is to go up to Tools, down to Sketch Tools, and right down here we have Modify. And by clicking Modify, we get this little Modify sketch box that comes up. We also get this little toggle here that's black with these two little directional arrows. So before we get into the modified sketch box, there's a couple things that we can do just with these black handles here. If I right click on one of them, it's going to rotate that sketch 180 degrees around that axis. So I just right clicked once, I'm going to right click again to get it back to normal. Now I'm going to go up and right click and rotate that sketch 180 degrees along the Y axis. So it basically just flips upside down. If I go ahead and right click back, we're right back to where we began. So not only can we change that direction with one click, we can also right click and hold that right click and just rotate around, and that sketch will be rotated in increments of 45 degrees. It can be rotated clockwise, it can be rotated counterclockwise, and by doing that we're only affecting the rotational axis, which is the x-axis in this case. This little toggle deal can be moved just as well. We can pull it out, and by left clicking and dragging we can either move the toggle or we can grab the whole model and drag it pretty much in any direction. So let's say that we want it rotated 180 degrees along the y-axis, and let's go ahead and flip it upside down as well. Now if you really want to dial in the values, we can go to our Modify Sketch box here, and we can either scale about the sketch origin or a movable origin. Chances are you're just going to want to stick with sketch origin for most of your translations. You can scale it up by a factor of any number that you'd like. Scale it up by a size of 2. There we go, it's double the size now. Or we can scale it by decimal points, 0.75. The one thing to take note of with the factor is, once it's scaled to a new factor, that's going to be your new size. So by scaling it 0.75 after I scaled it by a factor of 2, it's still going to be bigger than our original, but it'll be 75% as large as the scale we just had it set to. Next we have the translate values down here. We can translate along the x-axis. Let's translate it out 100 millimeters. Y we can translate down 20 millimeters, and that whole sketch gets moved based on those values. And finally we have the ability to rotate that sketch down to the 100th of a degree. So if we really want to dial this in, we can say we want 7.5 degrees of rotation, and you can barely see it. However, that rotated 7.5 degrees. So that's the modified tool in SolidWorks. Like I said, it's highly underutilized for the most part, but it's a great tool if you need to copy a sketch onto a face or a plane, but with any rotation or any translation along either of the axes. I especially like the ability to scale sketches. It makes creating two sketches that have the same profile yet different sizes extremely easy. So like I said, this was going to be a short productivity enhancer, but I hope it was a helpful one. So thanks for watching, and until next time.